Not everybody comes to yoga with very flexible hamstrings. Some people have had some time to stretch them in their lives, but generally speaking, if we're adults and we come to a yoga practice or a Pilates practice, our hamstrings are somewhat constricted. Now let's just point out where the hamstrings are first of all. They're in the posterior thigh. Posterior opposite of anterior, meaning the back of the body. So we have the skeleton now showing his posterior body. The hamstrings are three muscles that basically do the same action, and they're basically more or less in the same place. So they're a good starting point. All of the hamstring muscles start or attach at this bone here. We're familiar with this bone if we do yoga, because yoga teachers are always saying, sit tall on your sitting bones, find your sitting bones, take your glutes out and get to your sitting bones. However they might say it, it's a constant theme that they drum into their students, because without being able to feel your sitting bones on the floor or on a block, you really can't do forward bends with good alignment. These are the sitting bones. A lot of people are surprised that they look like little rings under here. They're actually called the ischial tuberosity. Again, the ischial tuberosity, because they're this rounded protrusion at the bottom of what's called the ischium. We don't have to go over every part of the skeleton, but the ischium is the lowest portion of our hip bowl, this whole area. The sitting bones being the lowest portion there that we feel on the floor. So once again, ischial tuberosity is the sitting bones, it's one and the same. All three of our hamstring muscles connect to the sitting bones. That's where they originate. They come right into there from their associated tendon, and then they trail down the back of our thigh. Two of them, and if you have anatomy sheets in front of you, you can see that they say semitendinosus and semimembranosus. Both of the ones that say semitendinosus and semimembranosus, go right into the tibial bone. So they'll come from here, weave down to here into your tibia. And they're more or less parallel. Semitendinosus named because so much of it is tendon. Semimembranosus because more membrane. So both of those are parallel, both of them to the tibia, on what's called the medial side of our knee, the inside, towards the midline. The other one, known as the biceps femoris, same spot, but then comes laterally to the fibula bone. So on both legs, the fibula bone is the lateral side, the outside of our knee joint. So the biceps femoris comes from here to the outside of the knee joint to the fibula bone. And bicep, as with this bicep, that's a term that simply means two muscle. Bi means two, sep means muscle. These are two muscles in one, as well as the biceps femoris are two muscles in one. But basically all of these hamstrings, no matter what you're doing with them, they do more or less the same function. The biceps femoris has a little bit of a different action because it's on the outside, but their major function is what's known as knee flexion. What is knee flexion? Well, let's think back to what we said earlier. This is elbow flexion. Knee flexion is this. Anytime we bring our heel towards our buttocks, we're doing knee flexion. If you think of your hamstring muscles as a rope, and here they're straight, and when we do this, they're shortening. You're using your somatic nervous system, again, to send signals to fire up the hamstrings, to bring the tibia and the fibula towards the sitting bones, right? If the hamstrings did not cross over this space, if they did not come past the knee joint, and they just came anywhere along the shaft of the femur bone, then they would have no effect on the knee joint. Just want to make that very clear. It's not always clear to everybody, but if they went from here to somewhere along here, then nothing would be happening at the knee. All that would be happening is lifting the thigh bone somewhere when they contract. So in order for the hamstrings to exhibit control on the knee joint, they have to cross over this point.